Hello everyone. Today we are going to study My Mother at 66. That's a poem written by Kamala Das. So let's start without any further delay. The poem is mainly based on the relationship between a daughter and a mother. So there are mainly two characters in this poem. The daughter, that is the poetess herself, Kamala Das, and her mother. The poet works abroad and came to Cochin to meet her mother. So what happens? The poet, that is the poetess Kamala Das, she works in a foreign country and she has come to Cochin to meet her mother. Now she is driving back to the airport with her mother in the car. So when the poem starts in the book, NCERT, what happens? The poetess is driving back to the airport at the moment with her mother in the car. So when she looks at her mother, she notices her pale, open-mouthed face and compares it with that of a corpse. When the poetess Kamala Das looks at her mother's face in the car, she notices that her mother's face is extremely pale, and she also sees that her mother is open-mouthed. That is, she is just dozed off, she is sleeping. But the poetess is seeing it with a different point of view and compares it with that of a corpse. Now, why she compares her mother's face with that of a corpse? Because her mother's face has become bony. Like the bones of her face are visible. The skin has wrinkled because that's a natural process, aging. I hope you all know. Realizing that her mother has grew very old. So when at this point of moment she realizes that her mother has really grew very old and she is nearing death. This fills the poet's heart with extreme pain. Now the poetess experiences extreme pain because when we all just get a thought that our some near and dear ones are nearing death or they are becoming old, when we actually realize it, it obviously fills our heart with pain, and it is very usual. The same thing happens with me. It may also happen with you. Not may, it will happen with you rather, right? So let's continue. To put this thought away, she looks outside at young trees. To put this particular thought or these feelings of pain away, the poetess looks outside the car, outside the window, at young trees and children playing outside their homes. Now, here you might find a contrast. What is that contrast? Inside the car and outside the car, there is a contrast, that is the inside of the car denotes death, sadness, gloominess, and outside the car the scenario is full of youth, energy, spirit, right? Because the children who are playing, they're the new generation and they have extreme energy. So that's, and inside the car the poetess mother is very old. She has grew old, and thus she is nearing death. So that's the atmosphere of sadness. Well, however, after the security check at the airport, okay, so in the meanwhile, the poetess has reached the airport, and at the airport, after the security check has been completed, the poetess looks back once again at the wan, pale face of her mother. Well, now a new word, that is wan. Many of you might not know the meaning. So wan means colorless. Well, so the poetess Kamala Das looks back at the colorless, pale face of her mother and compares it again with a late winter's moon. And she compares her mother's face with a late winter's moon. Now, why she compares it, her mother's face with a late winter's moon? That's the question. Because you may Google this as well. That is, how does a late winter's moon look like? So when you will see, the late winter's moon is, very pale. It's very hazy, bloody, so that's why she is comparing it with her mother's face, because her mother's face is also very pale. So now she experiences a familiar ache of her childhood. Now, what does she mean by this? She experiences a familiar ache of her childhood, that is the fear of losing her mother. Well, now let me tell you a fact away from this poem, okay? That is, when we all are small as a child, right? As a child, when we all are small, we always, fear of losing our mother or our near and dear ones, our father, mother, or if we have any cousins, brother, sister, anybody. But the fear of losing our mother is the highest, I guess, because we usually love our mother and we are attached to our mothers very much, right? And yes, that's very obvious thing, and that's a fact. So similar is the thing that happens with the poetess. She experiences right now at the moment once again that childhood fear of losing her mother. However, she hid her pain and put on a fake smile. However, what happens? The poetess hides her pain and puts on a fake smile to assure her mother that they will meet soon next time. That is, next time, very soon, when the poetess comes back once again from her work to meet her mother, they will meet for sure. And this is the assurance that the poetess wants to give her mother through that fake smile. But actually, it's very important to accept the truth, and it's a fact that since her mother has grown very old, so death may embrace her anytime. And death doesn't come by warning you, it comes suddenly. And since her mother is really very old, so there is no surety. But however, she assures her mother because she wants her mother to be happy. Well, so that is why she simply smiles. And now I want to say a few things to you, that is the poetic devices in the poem. So before I say about poetic devices, I want to say you two things, that is simile and metaphor. A basic difference between the two, this is a short trick actually, so that you can understand it very easily, which one is a simile and a metaphor, because students usually get confused between the two. A simile and metaphor, both are kind of comparisons. And what is the difference that I want to say you? That is, when it will be a metaphor, it will be a comparison, but there will be no words like as or like. These two words you must remember, okay? As and like. These two words are very important to just find out the difference between simile and metaphor. If in a phrase as or like, any one among these two words is used, then that phrase will be a simile. And if no such word like as or like is used and a comparison is being made for sure, it is a must condition for simile or metaphor, that is a comparison must be made, okay? If a comparison is being made and as or like is being used in the phrase, then it is a simile. And if a comparison is being made but no words like as or like is being used, then it's a metaphor. That's a trick, and I will try to bring a separate video on various kinds of poetic devices. Well, this poem is extremely emotional, and I hope you have been able to connect to that emotion. Now, the poetess wants to keep the flow continued throughout the poem. That's why she uses no full stop and just puts some commas in some place. So that's it. Now, if you read the poem from your NCERT once, I guess it will be clear to you totally. Well, so thank you everyone. See you in the next video.